When people think of Spain, you generally think of certain stereotypes, such as the running of the bulls or soccer or even tapas. However, after visiting Spain last spring break in 2013, I can safely say that Spain is so much more than the stereotypes that they're known for. Spain is actually one of the most interesting places I've ever visited. I've been in Spanish classes since I was in 7th grade and have always been fascinated by the Spanish language and culture. Every day we are surrounded by Spanish language here in Texas, and international culture is slowly crossing the Atlantic Ocean to mix with our own here in the United States. This culture is what makes Spain so interesting, and it is clearly exhibited in Spain's beautiful, historical, and unique cities, two of which are Granada and Madrid. Granada was the first stop that my family made when we went to Spain in the spring break of 2013. According to www.alhambradegranada.org, owned by Area 25, it was given its name for its reddish-colored walls. The Arabic phrase, Kalat al-Amra, translates to Red Castle. The Alhambra began as a fortress, which is defined as a place that is protected against attack, according to www.merriam-webster.org, owned by the Merriam-Webster Encyclopedia Britannica. The compound is situated on a hill and is actually very hard to access, as it is between the Darro River and a big mountain range. This makes it one of the most perfect places defensively to place a fortress, as reported by www.alhambrapatronato.es, owned by El Patronato de la Alhambra. From the highest rampart, you can actually see the entire city of Granada spread out before you, showing what incredible views it is and how high up this hill actually is. I'd like to show you of Granada from the top of the ramparts in the Alhambra, as you can see here. The Alhambra can be categorized into two main parts. You have the military quarters, which are also known as La Alcazaba, and you also have the various palaces, gardens, and buildings that make up where life took place for the royals that used to live there, as well as the people who lived inside the Alhambra's walls, as found at www.alhambrapatronato.es, owned by El Patronato de la Alhambra. The royal palaces specifically displayed delicately and detailed designs with many beautiful courtyards and fountains that display the wealth and riches that the culture had at that time. Can you imagine the history that took place in that incredible compound? As I walked along the battlements, you could feel the history and see the effects since how life was back then. To say the least, I was in awe. It was the closest I've ever felt to history in my life, and it was definitely one of my favorite stops in Spain. Secondly, I'd like to tell you a little bit about Madrid. Madrid is Spain's capital, and it is where we spent the majority of our trip to Spain. We visited many cool places, including the Royal Palace of Madrid and the Prado Museum. The Royal Palace that stands in Madrid today is actually not the original palace that was built. The original palace burned down in an unfortunate fire in 1734. King Philip V then decided that a new palace needed to be built, and so construction began in 1738 under the architect Filippo Cuvara. Later on, this was taken over by his protege Juan Bautista Sacchetti when Cuvara died. The royal family no longer lives in the palace, and certain rooms have been opened up to visitors who would like to tour it. Among rooms that are shown are the throne room, the bedroom and saloon of King Carlos III, which is probably the size of my downstairs in my house, and the Royal Armory as well, which houses the most important collection of armor in all of Europe except for in Vienna, according to www.patrimonionacional.es, owned by El Patrimonio Nacional. As I toured the palace, I was overwhelmed by the extravagant luxury that these royals used to live in. It was pretty incredible. There were gilded furniture and red velvet carpets everywhere. And I was especially blown away by the chapel and the armory. They were very incredible places to see, and it was definitely an unforgettable part of the trip. The Prado Museum we then visited next, and that museum actually has certain rooms that were almost as luxurious as the royal palace itself, made even more beautiful by the artwork that it housed. The Prado was originally built as the Royal Museum of Paintings and Sculptures at the urging of Queen Maria Isabel de Braganza. It was used as a royal storehouse of sorts to keep royal artifacts and different artwork until it opened for the public for the first time in November of 1819. The museum currently owns about 1,700 paintings, 1,000 sculptures, 4,800 prints, and 8,200 drawings. That's a pretty impressive stock. Of those, www.museo-del-prado.es, owned by Prado Museum, reports that 1,300 are on display in the main building of the Prado for people to come and look at. It was a really cool place to go and watch and look around and see all of the artwork that Spain has to offer. Madrid as a whole perfectly exemplified the beauty and history that saturate the Spanish culture, and it was a joy to visit that city. Finally, I believe that Spain is one of the most interesting places that anybody can visit. The cities contain so much history and beauty. Granada is home to the world-renowned Alhambra Fortress, and it stands as a huge testament to Spanish culture and history of that time. Madrid, Spain's capital, offers visits to the Prado Museum and the Royal Palace for people who would like to see beautiful artifacts and historical pieces. Cultures travel and mix, and Spanish culture is full of a richness that we can all admire and enjoy if we take the time to explore it. Author Alexandra Stoddard once said, "When you leave a beautiful place, you carry it with you wherever you go." I'll always remember the time my family spent in Spain and the memories that we took home with us. Thank you.
Oh, great.